join me via Skype to discuss this is a counterterrorism expert, Mr. Martins Ewi. How are you, Martin?
I'm very good.
All right. Great. Fantastic. So what do you make of this development, considering that there's a lot to be done regarding terrorism and the likes in the African continent and again in ECOWAS, the ECOWAS axis of Africa?
Well, when I listened to the speech, I didn't pick up anything new from Buhari and from the reaction of the African head of state. I think you can't fight terrorism with summit. Summits do indeed set the trend on the kind of action that African leaders are supposed to take. What we have found for the past 20 years or so is that African leaders are fond of making this very flowering statement, and they are not backed by action. So I hope that this statement by Buhari is going to be followed by concrete action, because the issue of terrorism, I think it's one of the most serious issues that confront not only Africa, but the international community as a whole.
So, yeah, but what do you make of these acts being perpetrated by locals, locals within the African continent?
It is really disturbing. Domestic terrorism in Africa, which has been rising since the attacks on 9/11, is one of the most disturbing developments since the attacks on America on that September 11. And I believe if African leaders, if not only leaders, I think the issue of terrorism concerns the whole of African society. It's everybody, at the community level, every individual has to be responsible in fighting terrorism, because if we look at what is happening, it's not people from the other planet, it's not people from other continent, it is our own people in our backyard who are carrying out this act, and therefore it is the whole of society. We have to look into it seriously and not dismiss it as if these are individuals who are disturbed or individuals with special demands. So in my view, I think that we have to have the whole of community approach to dealing with terrorism.
And what do you make of the proliferation of arms and ammunition, across Africa, the crisis-ridden parts of Africa, because you find arms and ammunition in the hands of, people that are not supposed to have it and automatically empowered to carry out terrorist activities?
Yeah, this is the major tool. It's a major instrument of terrorism. It's what has really made terrorism to be very, very dangerous, very, very deadly in the past century or so. But what I want to say is that arms themselves do not really cause problems. And I believe in the case of terrorism, the necessity for those arms is first expressed before people pursue access to it or access to them. So I believe that when we are looking into this problem, it is not really about just taking out the physical weapons. It's about dealing with the mentality that led people to pursue these weapons. So I believe disarmament should be an integral part of the fight against terrorism. But the disappointment is that we often ignore this. We believe that just going after the insurgents or the militants, killing them left and right, is going to solve the problem. No, it's far from that. This problem has to be rooted from the root, which is often what our people are not doing, or those who are in the forefront of fighting this problem are not often doing.
Martins Ewi, thank you for joining in.